Good morning and welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona again, as usual. Today I'm doing something a little bit different again. Got a guest with me, Danny. Welcome on, Danny. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. So Danny originally went through our vocational program, took the painting class, did not get hired by us. I think he got offered a job by somebody else before us.
Yeah.
Before we had a chance to even offer to you. They picked you up. And he went to work with them. And Danny, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you've been, what brought you to take the vocational.
So my name's Danny. I took the vocational class right when I got out of prison. Basically, I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know like the direction to go. But once I met John Morris and Greg, they basically gave me a foundation of how people can change. And little by little, I started changing my life, and it's the real deal. Like I'm someone that hasn't really done much with my life, and I've struggled majority of my life, but I don't struggle no more. I just work, and I'm proud to work for these guys.
So when you came to the vocational program, did you have any intentions of going to New Freedom there because of vocational, or was it because you had nowhere else to go at the time? What
No, I heard of New Freedom and all the potential that was there, and an individual named Giles told me about the painting program. Mm-hmm. So once Giles told me about it, I signed up for it.
Okay.
And everything just kind of fell into place. Mm-hmm. I met you guys, and instantaneously I started liking to paint.
Okay. That was what, about 2 years ago or so?
Yeah.
Give or take? Yeah. How old are you now?
43.
43. How much of your life have you spent in prison?
14 years.
Okay. So quite a bit of time. All straight or separate?
Separate.
Okay. That's a lot of time to spend locked up, and that's a hard life. So what, prior to doing the painting, have you been able to retain a job in your past, or was it difficult, or were you always getting in trouble?
It was difficult. I was always getting in trouble.
Okay. So taking our class vocationally, we have the life skills plus the trade side of it. Looking back at the life skills part of it, of what we taught, what part of that impacted you, or did you retain? Or, I know a lot of guys say, well, it's just common sense. I mean, how open were you to that class, and what did it do for you on the evening classes?
It's knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's so one of the main things that I retained was when you guys told us to be on time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on time to every one of my jobs. I'm on time on everything, no matter if it's being a dad, no matter if I'm just always on time. Mm-hmm. But I've learned that from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that just everything, the things that you guys taught us, life skills, how to be responsible. Mm-hmm. Things that normal people should know, I didn't know.
Okay. So
I retained it.
So when you left New Freedom, you got a job with another painting contractor. Mm-hmm. How long were you there, and what happened? Because you now work for me. What happened through that period?
I basically got offered another job, and I stuck with it for a year and a half, and just kept learning how to paint. Truth be told, I had a surgery on my gallbladder. It was going out, so they pulled it out. Mm-hmm. And I basically I was off for a week, and then another week was I was off for 2 weeks, and when I went back to work, they weren't giving me any work. It was I was scheduled for light duty. Mm-hmm. And it was I was ready to work, ready to get back on the field, but only as light duty, and they worked me 2 days out of a whole week. So when I questioned them, it was a battle between management and corporate. They were well, we're going to talk to the foremen. The foreman was I'm going to have something for you on the weekend. And when nothing diligent came out of it, I was just I'm good. I'm going to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But I stuck with this job and learned a lot and did my best. Mm-hmm. They could never have said I was late. I had an attitude. I did everything you guys taught me. Mm-hmm. But they just weren't working me. Mm-hmm. So my first choice was to call you guys. You guys gave me a job, and as you can see, I'm ready, willing, with a great attitude, and I want to work.
So when you made that phone call, was it to me or Greg that you called?
Both you guys. Yeah.
Okay. And how did that conversation go? What was your perception?
It was good. You told me to come and apply.
Okay.
And I came and applied.
Perfect. So, and I think we started you that same day, was it, that you did paperwork?
The next day.
The next day. Okay. Gotcha. So you started working in the field as a painter, and, now we're trying you in the office as an estimator, seeing what you can do. How's that going for you?
I'm learning. It's a lot of mental, but I'm picking it up.
Okay. Is that a struggle for you, or you think you're going to be able to retain it? And
I'm retaining it. It's estimating's it's a lot to learn, but it's basically like once you know what you're doing, you could be successful.
Yeah. So going through all this, you're making good money, you got a good job, you have your own place now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your own apartment?
My own apartment.
Okay. By yourself, or you got roommates?
By myself.
Okay. And you mentioned kids earlier. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids.
Okay. Are they a part of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Or were they previously, or did you have to kind of work your way back in to build the relationship again?
I had to work my way back into their lives.
Okay. How has that impacted you, and how did going through the program help you with these situations?
The program, 100%, to whoever that wants to change their life, it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
These gentlemen offer you guys the opportunity to change, and that they'll do anything in their power to help you change. I've changed. The program, everybody at the program that I graduated from, they all had a part in my success, one way or another. My kids, they were willing and ready to have a dad,
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
But, like with anything, when there's an absent, people, you have to work your way back with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I strive and struggle like any other human,
mm-hmm.
but I do my best every day. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I just do my best to keep trying.
Mm-hmm. And every day you're improving a little bit more. That's the goal. And you've definitely shown that since the beginning. Going through everything you've been through, it's a struggle to get back out there in society and get your life back in order, basically. Some guys go through the program because they don't have anywhere else to go. They come out of prison and they think, man, where am I going to live? Who's going to hire me? I'm a felon. No one's going to hire me. I got nowhere to go, no family, no friends. Some of these guys come off the streets prior to going to prison. So looking at these situations, for some guys, it's a 90-day program for them to figure out what they're going to do, what the next step is. It's a 90-day program so they could have a bed, have a meal, and figure out the next step. I think also what I've seen through the program there is it also helps you get your head screwed on right, in a sense, because technically it is a behavioral health facility. And for guys that have been locked up for a longer time than others, the mindset changes because of what you've seen or what you've been through in prison. We hired a guy out of the program. Today's his first day. He came in the office, did his paperwork, and talking to him, he spent 20 years in prison. And for the charges he was originally charged for 20 years ago was minimal. It's the stuff he did in prison after the fact that got more time on his sentence because of what he had done, which ended up a longer term. And he's on board with us. He never wants to go back. He's in his mid-40s, kind of like you, and he wants to change. And this is his opportunity to change. So I think for some guys, going to prison, it makes them a worse person. And then they finally hit somewhere in there that they finally decide, I want to change my life. I want to be a better person. But it's so difficult to do while you're in there in the system, So coming out, going through this program, it helps you get your head screwed on right. It gets you on the right path. The cool thing now, compared to when you went there, there's a lot more trades. When you were going there, there weren't as many. Now there is, there's painting, there's culinary, there's welding, there's framing, there's drywall, there's flooring, CDL. It's really expanded for the guys that are going there. Our painting class was the very first class in that program. We're the ones that pioneered the whole vocational, So it's exciting for me to see guys coming out that were in the very beginning, like yourself, in the first few classes, and being so successful and still making it. It is difficult for me sometimes when I look back and I look at the ones that did not make it. the ones that went through the program or they ended up back on the streets. I remember my first year being there that I know 25 people personally that went through our classes that are dead today, from fentanyl or other situations. And that's very tough. We had one in our class that left on a pass on a weekend and did not come back because of fentanyl on the streets. And it's very unfortunate. And I'm sure you've seen some guys as well that you've known through the program or coming out of prison that have tried to do better and have failed. What is the difference? Why are you so successful and some aren't? What's different with you?
Nothing. The difference is that when I met you guys, what you guys instilled in me to be hungry, I was hungry. I wanted a different life. I just never had the resources or the opportunity or the situations to change. Mm-hmm. You guys presented it and I ran with it. Mm-hmm. I never looked back.
So that's probably the difference is somebody gave you an opportunity finally is what you needed.
It's all I needed.
The opportunities weren't there. There's never been a program like this as far as I know anywhere.
Nope.
So I mean, this is, as far as I know, the first in the nation that's happening and the difference it's making. It's amazing how many guys come out of prison and they tell me, oh yeah, when I left, I walked out of there, they said, don't worry, we'll leave the lights on for you when you come back. How many guys have heard that walking out of prison because they're expecting you to come back? If there were more programs like this, more opportunities, how many more people like yourself would be just as successful? They just need someone to believe in them. And I think that's where, for myself and Greg, my partner in the business, what we look at is we saw guys that just needed an opportunity. We saw guys that just needed someone to give them a hand up. It's not a handout. Nothing's being given to you for free. You've had to work for everything you've got, but we put all the opportunities in front of you to give you that opportunity. If you hadn't gone to New Freedom, if you hadn't gone through the vocational program, where do you think you'd be today? Honestly,
so I've talked to lots of people and I know people, and a lot of them don't have jobs because they didn't go to the program. The program guarantees you a job, and it guarantees you a good job, like a trade. So, I mean, I'd probably be like most people trying to find a job, but it's hard when you have felonies. For the most part, I'm super grateful. The program changed my life. Mm-hmm.
Did your felonies affect you getting your apartment, or did you find a felon-friendly place, or how did that work out for you?
A felony-friendly place.
Okay. And there are quite a few out there. Mm-hmm. You just got to search for them. A lot of people think they're not out there, but there are. I think there's different groups or organizations that'll give you a list that you can find them and make it work. So, no, that's good to know. As far as jobs out there, the one thing that we saw as a company and that was difficult was trying to get employees at the time. How do we hire guys? How do we grow our company? And at the time we were struggling. It was very difficult to find employees. And it's really difficult in the construction industry right now because I read something somewhere, I think for every 50 people leaving the construction industry, there's only 3 replacing those 50. This younger generation isn't being taught that a skilled labor is a good trade to go into. They're so easy to go to college and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a degree that's useless. I also read a survey somewhere that said for 50% of people that out of college 10 years after graduating, they no longer have a job that their degree, which their degree required. It was always something else. So it's almost like you're better off going into a construction field, a construction industry, and starting learning from the ground up. If you just stick with that, by the time the guy out of college gets out, you're going to be making more money than he could have just by learning the trade. I think we're going to see in our time in the next 10 to 15 years that people in the trades are going to start making more than doctors and lawyers and everybody else out there because there's such a demand for us and there's not enough labor. We're running an ad, even though we hire out these programs, we still run ads every Monday for painters, even though we have a pool of guys to hire from through the programs. So what does that say about our industry and the future of our industry? There's a huge opportunity. So what I see in this business is an opportunity for guys coming out of prison. I see an opportunity for guys that if they're willing to change their lives, there's a future that's so bright right now that it'll change everything. It's just, you got to want it, got to grasp onto it. So as you've continued on your journey through life and through what you're doing, what else has changed? You own your own vehicle now, I assume, right?
Okay. So since I've been out, I'm on my second car, second apartment. Basically, everything's changed. The way I dress, talk, think. Pretty much, I work and be a dad. That's all I do. I don't have time for much else.
Mm-hmm. And you have a second job, too, on top of this, right? What do you do there?
I do prepping, make pizzas, wash dishes, make food.
Okay.
At a restaurant.
Okay. So you've become a workaholic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you're busy, you don't have time to get in trouble, right? So
if you're not spending money, you're making money.
There you go. No, that's a good concept to have. So you got your own vehicle. What about, you probably had to build your credit up again, right? Or how have you done with that? Or
I got a Wells Fargo credit builder card.
Okay.
I use it once in a while, but I mainly just save money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just became really ambitious with it.
Just stack that cash. Okay. Are you financing a vehicle or did you pay cash?
I paid cash.
Okay. Smart. It's amazing how many guys coming out of the program in prison, it's like within a couple months, they want to finance a vehicle right away.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and then they buy a lemon and then they're in trouble, or they pay cash for something and it breaks down a week later. We've got a couple guys like that. I got one guy, he called me while we were driving over here.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his third vehicle and he's only been out for 4 months. It's like, dude, what are you doing wrong? And I keep offering to help him. He keeps saying, okay, but he never comes to me when he needs the help to go get that vehicle. So some guys have to learn that lesson on their own, and that's the other thing too. There's a lot of guys that I see them struggling. I see the problems they're going through and I want to help them, but I'm not going to force the help upon them. And I can't make the final decision for them. A guy like yourself, you have to make your own decisions. You've got to decide what's best for you. But at the same time, the guys that beat their fist on their chest and I'm a man, I got to do this on my own. It doesn't work that way. I feel we are stronger as brothers. We work together. We help each other. I'm always going to help the guys around me if they ask for the help or if I see them in need of help. But at the same time, if they push it away, I'm not going to force it upon them. They have to make certain decisions in their lives that are best for them. We were talking earlier prior to this podcast, me and you in the office, about guys and helping other people around us. You referred somebody you knew that needed a job. I think he'd come out of prison as well, but he hadn't gone through a program and it didn't work out. It's unfortunate. We can't help everybody, but at the same time, that doesn't mean we stop helping. I hope that doesn't change the way you look at the next person that needs help.
So you can look at it a lot of ways, but you can look at it like with you guys, with what you guys have done for me, I'm proof in the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
I work, I'm diligent. I basically don't have an attitude. You guys gave me an opportunity and I ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I built my life off of being on time. When I go home, right when I get home, I put my lunchbox away. I get my clothes ready for tomorrow. Or I make my lunch and then do that. Mm-hmm. And my whole days, once I'm ready for work, then I go be a dad, make dinner. Mm-hmm. But to each to their own. But for those of you that are hungry, it's out there, opportunity now. The world's changing. Mm-hmm. And for everybody that gets help and doesn't take it away and and run with it, they weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they know the next time there is help. And maybe they could tell somebody, hey, I did do this. It didn't work out. But
mm-hmm.
just there wasn't help way back in the day like there is now.
Yeah.
There's plenty of programs.
More so than in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's people coming out of prison were looked down upon, frowned upon.
Definitely.
It's not that way anymore. There was a time people with tattoos wouldn't get hired in certain jobs. And now people see past the tattoos. Everybody has them. Has that been an issue for you? Because I'm assuming the majority of your tattoos were in prison.
Head of them.
Yeah. So, and just to bring up, it's on your head, it's on your arms, your neck.
I remember I got a job, I think, like at, when I was a lot younger at Subway,
Mm-hmm.
and that they wanted me to wear a hat. But like nowadays, it's just, what do you know how to do, and do it.
Mm-hmm. People see past it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look at everything that's visible on you.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and that's the interesting thing for me with some of the estimators that work for me who have tattoos on their face and their neck. And, you're going to see, well, Will, he was on one of our podcasts. He was on the first or second one. I can't remember now. He's got tattoos on his head, and it's interesting the perception of the people he talks to. He'll talk to them on the phone before they even meet him. So they don't even know what he looks like. They just hear that person and how professional he is,
Mm-hmm.
and how he presents himself. And then he shows up on a job walk and they're like, "Oh, you're Will," and they look at him, but they're already past that. They saw it. It kind of was a shocker for a second, and then they're past it within 30 seconds. And they're talking about business. They're talking about the job site, the walk that they're doing, the painting. And so it's changed their perception. I think that's really helped him in his journey. He's such a good communicator, and I think for you communicate very well too. I think you're going to follow in his footsteps very, very fast. I'm hoping to see that. We'll see where this journey goes. But at the same time, here's the thing. If it doesn't work out in the estimating department, you'll still have a job with us as a painter. You're going to have a job. And no matter what you do,
I'll still have the knowledge.
Yes. And if anything, the knowledge that you're gaining from these couple weeks in the estimating department is going to make you stronger out there on the job site.
And smarter.
Yes. When a superintendent comes in and said, "Hey, you're painting this the wrong color," you can say, "Nope, right here on the plans, I'll show you."
Mm-hmm.
Because it's amazing how much these superintendents on the job sites don't understand the plans versus how well our own painters know in the field. So the more knowledge we can give you, the better off you're going to be out there. So I look forward to seeing how you progress out there. You mentioned earlier about, you make your lunch the night before, you set your clothes out the night before. And I remember times talking about that in class. And
so I learned it from you guys.
It's funny how many guys are, "Oh, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense." And it's amazing how many people, it's the smallest thing, the smallest detail that makes the biggest impact. I understand last week I was out of town, but I understand here recently you showed up to a job site a little more than 30 minutes early, and it was probably dark in the morning, and you were sitting there and a couple sheriffs pulled up on you and
True.
Made you nervous. What happened there?
So I had to go to a job site, and basically I Google the address. Mm-hmm. It's going to take, 25 minutes. I got up like an hour early, just went down there, and I usually just like read emails, look at Facebook, and just wait. But they pulled up. They were asking me like what I was doing there, and I was like, just here to work. I work with PHP,
Mm-hmm.
commercial painter. We're contracted. And then I already had my boss on the phone and was explaining to them like, what was going on. And then he talked to them and they were just like, okay. But to me, if you're not 10 minutes early or 10 minutes late,
Mm-hmm.
we're on it.
Yeah. I love that. That's something we've taught in class nonstop. You're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. And I'm a firm believer on that. You have to be on time because you don't know what's going to happen in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you're going to wake up and have a flat tire. You don't know if you're going to stop for your coffee and there's 10 people lying in front of you.
Accident on the freeway.
Accident on the freeway. Anything could happen, so you just don't know. You got to be prepared for anything. It's amazing how many guys are late every single day. If you are habitual with being late, something's got to change. You're doing something wrong. So how do you get that in these guys' minds? Because we have guys that work for us that didn't go through the program. And I'm telling you what, those guys are the worst. It's the ones that go through the program like yourself that are the best employees, and seem to move up the quickest. It's funny how I can have guys showing up late every week or they miss one day a week. And it's typically a Monday or a Friday when they're getting paid, or Monday when they're hungover or they blew their check the whole weekend, or guys have a side job on a weekend, need an extra day to finish it. They don't understand the concept of how to be a good employee. And that's something that when I started the program and I had to write the curriculum for the vocational class of life skills, I basically wrote what made me successful. So what I gave to you personally that you learned in that class was a blueprint of my success. That was me. And it was a struggle when I originally wrote that program, not knowing what I was getting into. I've never taught a class prior to the vocational. It's something new for me. And I remember some nights waking up in the middle of the night, I couldn't even sleep. I'd wake up thinking about it, and I'd start working on it and save it and send it to myself at work so I could work on it the next day at work. And it was interesting because not only did it have to get approved through the facility we were at, it had to get approved through the state of Arizona, the insurance company, for me to teach it there, so it had to have certain things in there that were required. And so creating that, I gave you my recipe to my success. And it's what's given me everything I have on my journey. Everything I teach you in there is everything that I've done in my life to get me to where I'm at. It wasn't something I just pulled out of a hat or copied off the internet. That is my life in that book that I gave you guys. I don't know if you ever knew that. But it means a lot to me to pass that knowledge on. And a lot of it's just common sense. And to give that common sense and have people retain it and understand this, and just setting your clothes out, making your lunch the day before, being 10 minutes early, those are all common sense things that everybody should have, but it's amazing how many people don't. I mean, look at your everyday life. I mean, you are so successful right now. You're doing so well for yourself. And I'm sure you run into people every day that are struggling or they're having a hard time. What do you see out there? I mean, how does that make you feel?
When I see people struggling, I always try to give them advice or help them. But I mean, you can only do so much,
Mm-hmm.
But everybody struggles with something. I know that. No matter if it's relationships, life, with speaking to people. But I mean, for the most part, the formula that you guys presented, I didn't have. I basically was closed off. But once you guys gave me a format, an idea of what to do, I never looked back. I just ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give the shirt off my back to somebody if they really needed it. But other than that, my goals is my job, my family, and just proceeding on doing good in life.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I focus and worry about. Mm-hmm. Everything that you presented, I'm just following suit.
And you're never looking back at those days in prison or where you were. It's forward from here.
Forward.
That's all you can do. Just keep moving forward. The past doesn't define you. It helps you become the person you are. I look at my past and what I've done in the past, and it's not what defines me. It's what I'm doing today. It's what you do today moving forward. That's what's going to define you. And as long as you're trying to better yourself every single day, then you're going to be a better person. You've got to want it. You got to be hungry for something more. You got to be hungry for a better life, for a better job, for something. It amazes me how many guys show up for work and they're lazy. All they do is complain about their job, or they complain about their situations. What do you gain by that? Nothing. It doesn't help you, and all you're doing is dragging the people down around you. You're creating a negative atmosphere. I want to be around people that are positive, people that are in a good mood. I know a couple weeks ago, we took 3 guys from our last class on a job site. We took them on your job site, and you had the opportunity to work with 3 guys out of the program and that's the first time we've ever done that. We didn't have that opportunity before. And I must say, I was very, very impressed with you personally out of the guys that were helping teach these guys on the job site for those 2 hours. You had the most patience. You took the time, the care, the energy to help them improve and become better within that 2 hours. It was very impressive watching you. So I'm very proud of you. And how did that make you feel, being able to give back? And you were there at one point,
First of all, thank you. And the way I saw the whole situation was those 3 guys, they were me.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I understood like their situation. I understood that they didn't know how to paint, and we're doing this for a living. Like, this is our job. But of course, I stopped and slowed down and taught them like whatever I could teach them in that amount of time. And I thought they did well.
They did, yes. And it's not for everybody. Unfortunately, out of those 3, just a couple weeks ago, we hired one of them. He's already quit. Out of the 3, he decided that this was too fast-paced for him, which it's not for everybody. And we always explain that in the class, that when you get out, it's 1,000 times faster. It's going to be a little more difficult. I think the painting class is just the basis to see if it's something you're going to enjoy first. How do you like the painting? Is it something you could see yourself doing as a career? Some people can, other people can't. I don't care what job you want to do out there. I don't care whether it's painting. I don't care if you want to be a greeter at Walmart, be the best damn greeter you can be. Just find something you enjoy. I don't ever want people to come into our vocational trade as a painter versus the others just because there's no other options they like. I want you to do it because you enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, find something else that you do enjoy, that you're good at, because it's not for everybody. We've seen a lot of guys come and go, and there's been a couple people that we've hired that our company was too fast-paced. I've got buddies that own residential painting companies versus ours, mostly commercial, and that's at a slower pace, and it might be a better fit for them. We're always trying to help guys move from company to company. If they've been through our program, they're trying to be successful. Just like you left the other company and came to us. We're going to help you. Even at some point, if down the road you think, okay, this isn't for me, I need to go somewhere else, I'm going to help you. That's my goal. Maybe one day you want to own your own paint company. Guess what? I'm going to help you. We're going to get you there. That's the goal with each person. The goal is to better yourself each step of the way and find what's best for you. I don't want to tell you that where you're at right now is the best fit for you. Right now, it might be with what you have in front of you. Down the road, there might be a different fit. You never know. For me right now, I never thought I'd do anything other than painting. I never thought I'd own a paint company. I never thought I'd teach a class. I never thought I'd be sitting here doing a podcast. We just do what's in front of us, and we keep growing as a person, as an individual, as we grow. You didn't know today coming to work you were going to be on this podcast till I talked to you, and it's something new you're doing. We have to be open to change and growth as we go through life. What is the biggest growth and change that you've seen in yourself over the last couple of years coming out of prison? The one thing that's defined you as a person?
Work ethics.
Work ethics?
All I do is work.
Okay.
I used to never work.
Okay. Then what do you do for fun?
Be a dad.
Okay. How old are your kids?
9 and 10.
Okay. So when you be a dad and you're with them, what are you able to do now that you weren't before?
I do everything with them. Take them with me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the park. We go out to eat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the main thing that makes me happy. Just that and working. Okay. Where people look at work as like, I have to work. Like, I'm happy to work.
Mm-hmm.
I've struggled. So, I mean, you gave me an opportunity. I'm happy to work. I want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help. Like when you were saying about people that are late and that miss work every Monday, like I'm not that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I know when you miss work, it puts the foreman down a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's less for him to complete. Like for everybody else, like working is my life now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to do is work, be a dad, and just keep pushing. I don't want to struggle no more.
Mm-hmm.
I figured out through you guys how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's working.
It's awesome. This morning being in the office, today being Monday, you've probably heard the conversations. Mm-hmm. There's a few people not showing up today or missing work. That it's becoming an everyday thing now. Mondays are the worst, but I think talking to Greg in the office about last week with me not being there out of town, he told me every day was a Monday last week. It was that tough. And I think our business has grown so much and so big that every day now is a Monday in our business. It's just there's no days. One day might be a little worse than others, but What used to be a normal Monday is every day now. It's crazy. And I don't understand how people can survive through life calling out as much as they do, missing as much work as they do. How do you pay your bills? How do you feed your family? How are you ever going to get ahead? But yet, if you get to know those people, those are the ones that complain the most that they can't get ahead or they have no money. But yet they're their own worst enemy. They're not helping themselves. You know, everything I have in my life, I owe to my job in painting of what I do. You know, it's interesting with my situation with my wife even, she understands I'm a workaholic. That's just what I do. I work as much as I can, but I also play as hard as I can, and we're able to do the things that we want to do in life. We're able to travel now and do different things. So when I look at what I'm doing, I want to work hard. I want to buy nice things. I posted something on Facebook the other day. When you can buy something without looking at the price tag, you can work without looking at the time clock. Think about it. I'm working my ass off. I'm working as much as I can, making as much money as I can to be able to afford the things that I want. I'm not going to worry about the price of those things. Yeah, price has something to do with it, but you understand what I'm saying. It's wanting to have something and working for it, knowing that I earned it for myself and I'm able to do it for myself. You know, nothing has been given to me in life. I've earned everything that I've got. And that's my goal. And that's what I'm trying to teach guys around me. You're living proof of this right now, you know, that you're providing for yourself. You have your own apartment, you have your own vehicle. You're able to take your kids out to eat whenever they want to, you know, and we're all going to have struggles. There might be a week or two here and there where we struggle more financially than others, or rent's due this week, you know, but, you know, growing up, I never had anybody teach me how to save money. I never had anybody teach me how to budget my money. I had to learn that on my own, you know, and sometimes we have to learn from our mistakes, and they're hard, you know. I'm hoping you've learned from all your mistakes and you're growing from them and becoming a better person. And because of what you've been through and what you're doing, I'm almost positive it's changing the way you raise your children, the way you teach your children, you know, teaching them the work ethic that you've got, teaching them to be good citizens so they don't end up in prison like yourself. It's no life for anybody. You don't want your kids to do that. I'm sure your parents didn't want to see you go through that, you know. So hopefully the changes that you're making will last the rest of your lifetime and continue for multiple generations. You know, it's interesting when teaching the class with what we go through, you know, it's almost like throwing a pebble in a pond and you see that ripple. The ripple just keeps going and going and you don't know where it stops. What we're doing, what we're teaching with the workforce skills and the vocational program and what the lives that we're changing, you know, sometimes being locked up and being in prison is a generational thing. It continues for multiple generations. It's time for some people to break that cycle and change their family. And hopefully for a lot of people, this breaks the cycle of going to prison and their kids going to prison and their grandkids going to prison. It's not a life for anybody, you know, and it starts with you teaching your kids the right way to live. And I don't know your past. I don't even know what you were locked up for, and it doesn't matter. I know the man in front of me right now today that I'm proud to call my friend. And I'm honored to have you a part of my life and to be a part of your success and watch you grow through everything you've been through. You know, it's been an exciting journey. You know, I followed you on Facebook when you weren't working for me. You know, it's been interesting. So I'm very, very proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you. It's an honor as well.
So, as we wrap this up here today, is there any message or anything that, you know, somebody could be out there struggling, going through what you've been through in the past? You know, it could be someone sitting on their rack right now listening to this. It could be someone on the streets listening to this, somebody just struggling, or somebody who can't find a job, or somebody that can't figure out that next step. What advice would you give to that person that's struggling out there today?
For anybody that's struggling, first of all, know there's hope. Second, whenever you're ready, there's always a way. You just got to want it. And when somebody gives you an opportunity, run with it. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm. And you're still running.
I'm still running. I'm blessed and I'm very grateful. working, it's not like basically solves all your problems, but it helps you through life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm proud to work.
Mm-hmm. Bottom line is we got to work the rest of our lives to pay for what we want. Nothing's free.
Nothing's free.
You know, it's just, and I want to be the one that determines how I spend my money and how much I'm going to make and what I'm going to do with it. You know, you do that by working and try to better yourself all the time. So no, I appreciate you being on here today with me and being a part of this.
Absolutely.
You know, if there's anybody out there that's struggling for a job or struggling with an addiction problem, reach out to us. We can help you. We can direct you in the right direction. There are places out there that can help you. You know, we're willing to help you, get you on the right path, get you on the right track. You know, it's not hopeless. You know, this isn't a handout, but it's going to be a hand up, and we're going to direct you in the right direction to help you get to where you need to be. You know, it's interesting as I've done this for so long and I've seen the guys that are successful. I've also seen the guys that haven't been successful. And I think one of the main differences that I see in a lot of the guys that are more successful, they're tired of being tired. They're just done. They're done with that life. They're done with that addiction. They're done with whatever situation they've been in. And they're ready to make that change. And if you're ready to make that change and you're ready to get out there and get a job and work, we can definitely help you. We can get you in the right place to get you on the right path. And maybe for you, painting isn't what you want. There's other trades out there. There's multiple programs we can help out with it through the vocational to get you on the right path. You know, we've created now 3 different vocational programs through 3 different entities here in the Phoenix area that are growing and expanding. And we're helping guys get jobs and women get jobs. There is a place for you, but you got to be ready to want it. It's not going to be given to you. It's not free. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be hard. It is going to be work, and you have to bust your ass to make it happen. You've got to be hungry. You've got to find that beast mode in you and just drive and grind for this. If that's what you want, if you want to better yourself, then we will help you. We'll get you on the right path. So thanks again for being with us here on Workforce Skills with John Morse. We'll see you next week. Stay hungry.